Welcome to Podtendo, a Nintendo podcast, where they analyze, reminisce, and replay the glory of old Nintendo games.
Super NES. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest. It's even tougher than the original.
Hey guys, welcome to the Podtendo podcast, where we analyze, reminisce, replay the glory of old Nintendo games. Well, except those times we play PlayStation games, and then at some point we start playing like Xbox games, but like old video games. But we're branded Nintendo most of the time, so that's how it works. We're a review, retrospective, pop culture, let's play show. We do all those, and today we're doing ourselves a favor by playing a rerun of some old classic games that we haven't played in the past, but they are Nintendo treasured games. You want to contact us, I think I say check us out, maybe email podtendo@gmail.com or YouTube. Maybe someone talks on YouTube. Yeah, you might be, and I'm not paying attention, so no, I should get an email. So in theory, I should be notified. Anyways, I'm Mick, and I'm joined by
Tyson.
Cool.
Yes, it's good to be here, replaying some old classics. Some better than others. Some might say required playing in a way or two.
Yeah. I mean, check in a couple weeks. We are doing like a year-end kind of tiers list, and if you kind of go through and look and pick away at that, or I can send you the link if someone's interested. These games are all pretty highly ranked. They're all pretty good experiences. I think go from what we'd say like must-play games, awesome instant classics, to pretty good, solid, still hold up, right? So what we're doing is we're looking at the Donkey Kong Country Trilogy today. So that's Donkey Kong 1, Donkey Kong 2, Diddy's Conquest, Donkey Kong Country 3, Dixie's Double Trouble. So kind of touch on each of those games. We'll do kind of an abridged version, jump into some of these games we haven't talked about for a while, give some of our current thoughts, talk about our current play styles, what we did, and go from there. And at some point I'll explain like why I think I did this for kind of like December-y, Christmassy season. We'll get there.
Yeah. Well, depending on when these games came out, maybe they were a good Christmas gift sometimes. So we might have some good memories with these games around Christmas.
Hey, I also do as well. That's kind of why I did that. Cool. Awesome. So where to play any of these games? They are all available on the original carts, Wii U, or Wii also, I guess, as the Wii U, 3DS, as well as the Switch Online. So if you get that lovely Super Nintendo, click on it, you get access to all three of these games. It's great. You can rewind, save states, jump in between. Lovely. And normally what we do is we like to set up kind of a nostalgia, right? Donkey Kong Country actually was released before we started doing Wayback Machines. So what we're going to do today is we're going to have a three-way showdown to find out which Wayback Machine would be the best, just by looking at a quick highlight, a snippet of them. And we have 3 years to work with. So we have November 21st, 1994. So we can just call it November 94, which is Donkey Kong Country. Donkey Kong Country 2, Diddy's Conquest, was released November 21st, same day, November, or 1995, and Donkey Kong Country 3 was released November 18th, 1996, so essentially almost exactly your parts. We got 96, 95, 94, November. We're going to look at 4 categories. Tyson's going to decide who's the winner, and we'll move on with our lives. That works?
Yeah, I mean, dang, unless we get some ties in here, because looking at this list, I don't know, they're going to be tough. They're going to be tough decisions.
Yeah, very much so. So we start out with The Simpsons, our favorite TV show. We say, what is our favorite TV show? Or what is our favorite TV show? What is our favorite Simpsons episode? So in 1994, we would have seen Season 6, Episode 8, Lisa on Ice. Okay, not bad.
Not bad at all.
1995 brings Season 7, Episode 8, Mother Simpson.
Yeah, that's a big one. That one's a big one.
Not 96, the final year, is Season 8, Episode 4, Burns, Baby Burns. So, 3, nothing classic, nothing historic, this is my favorite episode, but some pretty good episodes, top-notch ones. Of those 3 episodes, which one wins?
Man, okay, so toss up. Mother Simpsons, and Lisa on Ice. Those are the 2 competitors. Burns Baby Burn. I mean, I like Rodney Dangerfield, but like, it's all right. It's not the best episode. Sure. Really tough. I think that these kind of neck and neck. I lean a little bit more towards Lisa on Ice. But that's just the Canadian in me. Where I'm not the biggest hockey fan in the world, but something about The Simpsons playing hockey, or like South Park and the hockey episodes. Like every time there's a hockey episode, I just kind of like it. So I think I got to go with Lisa on Ice.
Excellent, nice. That is good. Hex. Okay, good job. 1994. Pew pew. Top cartoon. So just animated series that at least debuted in these years. So 94 brings Spider-Man, the animated series. 95 brings Pinky and the Brain. And 96 you get a little touch of Hey Arnold.
Ooh, I mean, I grew to love Hey Arnold. So this is really a toss-up between Spider-Man, the animated series, and Pinky and the Brain. Another just toss-up. I kind of lean Spider-Man, the animated series.
Okay.
Because, I mean, that introduced me to the Spider-Man character, even though it's kind of a little rough. Like, the X-Men series, I think, came out after the Spider-Man series, and was just infinitely better.
It was before.
Okay. Oh, maybe then you cheaped out on it. Because, like, there's a lot of CGI. He's swinging through talking. It's like, it's a little rough, but I remember the Sinister Six, the Venom episodes, the Kraven the Hunter.
Sure.
I got to go with Spider-Man.
Okay. All right. So good job, 1994. So unless we see another year jump in and kind of step up here, they might. We're going to have a runaway win with 1994. So top movies. 1994, the big movie that came out in this November was Junior, starring, what's the big muscle guy and the little guy?
Arnold Schwarzenegger and Danny DeVito.
I don't think it's Danny DeVito. I think that's twins. I don't know who else is in Junior.
Well, good question. I didn't Google that one. I thought it was the Danny DeVito.
No, it's where he's pregnant. He's pregnant. A pregnant Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Just Google it. Yep, Danny DeVito. And
he is in it.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. So
sick. Okay, cool, awesome. Yep. And 1995 brings us 007 GoldenEye.
Classic.
And then 1996 we get Space Jam.
Ooh, who doesn't love that soundtrack? Well, and since it's me, this one's not a surprise. I'm picking GoldenEye. As we all know, I'm a James Bond fan, so GoldenEye wins.
Well, that's it. We never need to break from tradition. So with that only leaves top video games. So the best video game that came out these years. I don't know if it was the whole. Actually, it might have been November. With 1994 brought us Super Metroid. 1995 brings Chrono Trigger to the table, and 1996 drops Super Mario 64.
Wow, 3 massive games. However, one of these games, if you paid attention to our list, might be higher than the rest. And I think it's pretty obvious. We're a Nintendo podcast. We're picking Super Mario. I'm picking Super Mario 64. That game, I still every so often just pick up and play it. Love it. I love Chrono Trigger. It's a great game, but sometimes it just seems a little daunting to just be like, oh man, I want to play this. Whereas I love Super Mario 64. I love just like the soundtrack, the worlds. It's so rewarding. You can even get into like trying to speed run it or break it or whatever. It's like there's lots of glitches. I just love playing that game straight up. It's super satisfying. So I'm going Super Mario 64.
Solid. Nice. Cool. So good job, 1996. That means 1994 was the winner after all. Pew pew. It was close down to the wire. Had we flipped around some categories, we could have made it close. So everyone had one, and then it came down to Spider-Man. Ooh, baby. Spider-Man. That'd be good. So quick, brief glimpse into the world. I think actually 1994 is claimed as like one of the best years ever. That's 1998 or something, and then 2000 are kind of like the big years, the biggest, most iconic years, right? We get the Super Metroids, the Donkey Kongs, the...
What's 98?
Earthbound. That was Ocarina of Time and...
Oh, yeah, that's your Half-Lights, that's your StarCraft, that's your Banjo-Kazooie, Metal Gear Solid, Ocarina of Times, Resident 2s. Yeah. The list kind of goes on and on in that year, so yeah.
Yeah, like Tomb Raider is like the 10th best game. You're like, oh, okay, cool, sick. So Cool.
Yeah.
With that, though, that kind of gives that. And I guess that the only fair thing to do is we can start in 1994 and we'll work our way forwards through time. Just like I didn't plan it the whole time, but it kind of looks like. And we'll start with Donkey Kong Country 1. The original was released November 21st, 1994. How long to beat has the game at 4 hours? Actual retail price was $60, and if you factor in inflation, that's $96.21 today. On eBay, you can get a copy of this game for about $40. And if you had $350 just burning in your pockets, you could buy a complete in-box Donkey Kong Country Trilogy.
You know, at least might hold its value.
What do you? Is it worth more today? Because that was like when I wrote these notes years ago. Donkey Kong Country Trilogy sealed, inboxed.
While you're doing that, the eShop price is Wii and Wii U $8 and $12 on the new 3DS. I'm pretty sure you can't buy any of those anymore.
Yeah.
Just get yourself a Nintendo subscription to the Nintendo Switch subscription and enjoy that. That's about the best way of playing this digitally.
$500. Look at that. You would have got an extra $150 had you just acted in the past. Man, we were fools. We were damn fools, and I knew it, and it was written here. Damn it. Anyways, how do we want to do this? Like, I've already read these development details. You can go back and listen to our original show. Do we care about this? Would you rather just kind of talk like first memories? I just wanted to have more material, have more content for us, right? Do we want to make this kind of our definitive Donkey Kong Country show? And I can kind of breeze through development details, or would you rather just be like, no, this is more kind of like first memories, game, and I don't know.
I don't know. It's tough to say. I mean, we could just slap the development details and just go through it quickly. Then if there's anything that we kind of want to speak to, we can speak to it. But I think we definitely did do a decent job last time. So dealer's choice. If you want to add it, let's add it. If not, what's your first memory? So let's go from there. You choose.
Development details. Like, is anything here? No, I don't think. I don't think anything. No, we'll not do that. We're going to do first memories. Yeah, cool. I like that. For this game, for myself, I don't know if I played this until, let's see, I think around 95, 96. After I played the sequel. I know our cousin had it. I do recall playing through the first 2, maybe 3 worlds in a weekend. I also maybe had a friend that had it. What is going on in 94? Oh, and I'm like trying to like jog my memory. That's funny. Huh. That became a whole segment. Is that where Wayback Machine came from?
Maybe this is where it birthed.
No way, because I was trying to like jog my memory as to like what was I doing. Cool. Sick. I'm glad I read through those notes. That's incredible. Awesome. For Donkey Kong Country for myself, other than kind of those ones, yes, our cousin had it. I knew we played it there. I believe we had Donkey Kong Country 2 first. And then other than, you had a doctor that you visited, and he had a Super Nintendo and Donkey Kong Country in his waiting room. So I got to play it a bunch because you had to go into the doctor's office. So those are kind of like my first memories of Donkey Kong Country. Do you have any first memories of Donkey Kong?
No, I just remember sitting in the basement of our cousins and playing that for the first time, and he was really good at it because he like obviously played it a bunch, and like I wasn't very good at it because I was used to 2, and I feel like I kept trying to do like the roll or whatever, and like there's like certain mechanics game mechanics that just got added in the second one that I was just like used to. So I kind of like struggled at it, but it was like super cool. I was like, wow, look at these graphics. They're like, it's dark at night. It's got the light flashing. It's like, this is super awesome. And I feel like he had a really far ahead save file where he was on the lightning level, and we kept trying to get past that instead of starting a new file or something.
Interesting. The lightning doesn't exist to like Donkey Kong Country 3, so.
Oh, then where did my mind keep coming from that?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I know we got to the Tree Top Village a couple times, whatever that is, like the Monkey Woods level 3, right? But other than that, yeah, no, it's just kind of it's vague. I don't remember it as much, and we just kind of didn't have this one, so hence not there. Next game's first memories definitely worth waiting around. You'd be like, guys, why did you waste my time with that? Level notes. So for this playthrough, I guess story level notes. Maybe that's what we'll do. How did you play this game? So did you did you just kind of sit down and play it for an hour, play it all the way through? Did you complete it? Did you play just like little bits?
For 1 and 3, because they're not as my favorites. I just kind of beat the first world and then just like refresh my memories by like watching some Let's Plays and just looking at some walkthroughs and be like, oh yeah, those characters, blah blah blah. It's like I didn't have the time to kind of do all that too. However, I'm like, I'm going to spend some time playing this. Okay, so I beat a couple worlds in two because it's like it's a great game. I know I feel like it's the hardest of the three, sure, but it's the most rewarding in my mind. And just all the bosses are super memorable and fun. Whereas I feel like the bosses kind of get repetitive in the first one.
Oh, so much.
And then in the third one, it's just like they're trying to do too much with some of the bosses. So it's like two's this perfect balance, right? I'm like, I could just live in this game. So
yeah, that's fair. For myself, I decided to play through the entire game until the last level. So I leave the last area, jump to the next game, and then now that I've played 3 Donkey Kong Country games, almost to completion, right? I've just got the last little areas. Let's go back and kind of explore them. And it was a double question. Do I want to? Because there's a chance I get done Donkey Kong Country 2, and I'm like, yeah, I'm probably not finishing the other 2 games, because what would be the point? I luckily had enough time, so I did end up going back. But just kind of more of like a social experiment on myself to be like, do I really care about Donkey Kong Country 1? Because I don't know if I do care. And I cared so little. I will explain as we get into it. So the story of Donkey Kong Country 1. Tragedy has struck. Donkey Kong's banana hoard has been stolen by King K. Rool and the Kremlings. It is now up to Donkey Kong and his red tie with Diddy Kong and his red hat to go after the enemies and get the bananas back. We have 1 week, because after that point the bananas would go black and would only be good for banana bread. I like banana bread, but I also don't see the downside of this venture. Either way, we have some good eats.
Yeah. Okay. Well, Donkey Kong likes to have fresh bananas.
Yeah, there you go. Sweet. From there, though,
is the animated series based on the first game?
Yes,
I know,
because everyone lives on the same island, and okay, and they have silly misadventures. Yeah.
Yeah.
So from here, though, we go to the Congo jungle. So it's very easy introduction of all the game moments for the most part. The boss here is very naughty. Ooh, those are some good notes.
Yep. Yeah, I think there's a couple like hidden spots, nothing too crazy. Very naughty, but giant beaver bounce around, goes.
Yep. Yeah. From there, they'll go to the monkey mine. So this area it's kept introducing the game's areas. Very simple. There's jungle, mines, underwater, ruins, temple, and mine carts. Yeah, monkey mines. It seems like most things are like in caves or on mine carts. Not my favorite of the areas. I don't really love like the underground areas. It doesn't look very good in this game.
No, and I'm not a big fan of the minecart ones or any on rails parts. Mm-hmm. But is what it is. So
okay, cool. From there, though, we go from Vine Valley. So we're introduced to a few more of the game's mechanics. This area starts to have some screwy levels. And the boss here is Queen Bee. Wow. Yeah, you're in temples, some jungles. I think there's like a storm level here at some point where you have to like jump through. But other than that, some treetops. You go to the treetop village. And I was like those because they kind of remind me of like the Ewoks.
Oh yeah. And the Aztec ruins kind of always like reminds me of X-Men.
Oh yeah, cool.
I don't know why, but I'm like, this just reminds me of X-Men.
Yeah, I'm glad this game kind of reminds us of some. From there, we go to Gorilla Glacier. So. Really, game? Really? The barrel section in this level is so goddamn long. Why the F would they make you repeat the super sensitive mechanics over and over and over again? Oh, I wasn't a fan. Oh, and it's slippery? Oh, man.
Yeah, well, it's tricky. It's tricky. But take your time. I think we discovered that the first time when we were playing this. We're just like, just take your time. Don't stress. Don't rush.
There's
not a time limit in these games. Like, just take your time.
Sure. And at that point, I was like, done the game. There's no more levels. I'm going to stop at Kremkroc Industries. That's obviously the last level. That's clearly where King K. Rool. And I went on to the second game. So, how excited was I when I beat Kremkroc Industries? And I was like, now I can... Oh, there's another level called Chimp Caverns? I see. Huh. Didn't remember that it was even a thing.
And I think this is where they really start throwing the levels where the lights turn on and off.
Yeah.
Like
And like
every other time.
you're on the
and he was
conveyor
like, "Shoot
belts
me."
and you have
Yeah.
to, it's very tricky timing and it's like item management and they just throw a lot of kind of nonsense at you and yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
there was
so
one level that like the lights they flickered on. I don't know if I controlled them or not. How would you find any of the bonus levels in that area?
no idea. That is
Yeah.
absolutely ridiculous. I hate
Yeah.
the light levels where they flick things on and off. And it's like, I'm trying to, if you're ever trying to like play it just quickly, it's like, I'm never going to just like guess my way through this. You just like trial
Yeah.
and error. Well, and I
Well,
get it. That's,
and right now, what we're speaking of is we don't have nostalgia from this game, right? We came back to this game after the fact, after we had already played probably a superior title. Again, maybe that's my bias. But coming back to this game that does have the flaws. It is harder that you didn't grow up with. You didn't have time to grind, right? As kids, we didn't have that, get to put our 10,000 hours in and kind of build that up. We just kind of jumped into it. So at the end of this game, I'm like, well, I probably didn't get this far as a kid, right? My limited play experiences, these last couple areas don't mean anything. I'm not looking forward to it. I don't care about fighting King K. Rool and seeing the K credits and, have to hit him again and kind of knock him out to kind of finish that experience. I'm just kind of like, at a certain part, it's good. It's okay, but like, it's fine.
yeah, kind of. I think it's a little lacking. Like the bosses start to repeat. I think you fight a bird, and then you fight a different colored bird, and then you fight literally a different colored bird. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
no, stop it. And or you fight like a beaver, and then a slightly different.
Two
colored
beavers, two birds, a barrel, and a bee.
beaver. Yeah, and it's like,
Yeah.
nah. And then like, and even King K. Rool's fight where he just like shoots barrels or shoots his gun and just like slides around. You're like, it's not really all that in depth. Like I kind of just like, it's just, yeah, it's all right. Like don't get me wrong, it's not a bad game, but compared to Donkey Kong Country 2, it's like, man, this game just like sure repeats a lot of stuff.
Sure. Okay. Cool. From there though, we do get to jump into Donkey Kong Country 2 Diddy's Conquest. It was developed by Rare. It sold 5.15 million copies and is the sixth best-selling Super Nintendo game of all time. That's delightful. It was released November 21st, 1995. Has about 5.5 hours, 2 beats. Price of inflation was $50. I didn't do the inflation, so you still don't get it. $20 to $25 or $65 for an inboxed copy of this game. So, I wonder if that's probably more expensive. I'm not going to look it up, though. And do we care about the development details?
There's not a lot of them.
No, it's like, let's say, so Donkey Kong Country 2's development began shortly after the release of Donkey Kong Country 1, but before it became a commercial success. The desire to present new concepts that weren't not integrated into the previous titles. It was designed to be more challenging than its predecessor, and several working titles were considered: DK's Rescue, Diddy's Day Out, Diddy's Wild Country, and Diddy's Wild Frontier, before finally they chose Diddy's Conquest, which was altered to be Diddy's Conquest to create a play on words of conquest. Yeah, cool. Sweet. From there, first memories. Do you have any first memories of Donkey Kong Country 2?
I just remember always having it and playing a ton of it.
Okay.
Like I just remember this was probably one of our most played games. Like it was either this or Turtles in Time that we were usually always playing.
Yeah.
Maybe some Super Mario World and like Mario All Stars, and then repeat. Definitely one of the best games that we ever had as a kid. I just remember it always being played. I think this is one of the first kind of games that I could get through a few. Like I couldn't beat, and obviously never beat it as a kid. But I could get kind of far enough to a point where I think I would get to the. I think I'd get to like the squawk levels, and then I would just fail repeatedly.
Sure.
Yeah, or no, man, maybe the swamp. Like, I feel like I didn't get very, very far, but yeah, no, it was definitely the swamp with the spider. Yep, that was definitely the doom of most of my most of my runs in this game.
That's fair. Yeah, for myself, I remember getting it, and I'm guessing just based on the math, I think we had our N64 in 96. I think. That's pretty close to launch, though. Maybe. Damn it. Anyways, 95 potentially is when we got this, right? So kind of came out right close. I love playing this game so much. It was easily one of my favorite Super Nintendo games. Once at a party, some cool kid was like, man, I want to be player 2 in Donkey Kong Country because he has a hat. And I was like, no, you idiot. That's Donkey Kong Country 1. This is the sequel, the far superior game. And the guy with the hat is first player. What a fool.
And then he was probably stuck with playing a girl character, and playing a girl character as a teenager or as a young boy in the early 90s was like, oh, I can't play a girl. I need to switch immediately.
Yep. Kicked him out of that party. Said, no, go find a different party. I don't even care. Go be light as a feather, stiff as a board. Not here. That's not what we do here. We're boys. And he had to leave, so it's pretty exciting. So that's when first time I was a sociopath and destroyed a child's ego.
Yes, well, and then how foolish we are because Dixie's an amazing character, and the spinning the hair technique is like, man, that's so cool, so good.
Now you only play as her,
yeah, exactly. It's like, as soon as you get Diddy, like, hey, switch. As someone who sucks with platforming, her ability to kind of like help land pixel perfect was a lifesaver. You always needed Dixie. So
yeah, okay, sweet. So from there, also our dad read us a novelization once of this game, a book we got from the book fair, and somehow that like helped me beat the swamp level. Like I knew I couldn't beat it, and then he read the book, and I was like, oh, the fish, it helps me, and that's how I was able to like beat the games for the first time.
Oh wow.
I would love to find it and read it and be like, what unlocked it in my brain? Maybe it was just like that, like, oh, there's other things and there's like this carnival and stuff. And I was like, oh, I want to see the rest of the game. So it like led to my desire to like jump into the game a little bit more.
Yeah. I gotta look for the Donkey Kong Country 2 novelization.
From like Scholastic Book Fair. Yep. Yeah, that's a fun one thrown into the list. And other than that, I remember we got this as a gift. So it was either from our great-grandparents or our grandparents right before Christmas. It might not have been like the biggest gift. It was definitely just something that kind of came in the side, but it always kind of stuck with me, right? This nice gift from a loved one, right? A loving grandparent around Christmas times. And it just kind of always, I had it. At some point, I know we sold our copy of a game. Now, it was pretty good value again. It was like $25 or something. A guy was buying like 5 of our games and giving us like $120. Not bad value, but it definitely was one of those things. I think at some point I like got it back from him because he was like got into drugs at some point a couple years later, and he was like trying to sell stuff. So I definitely like got it back from like less than I paid. So thankfully I kept that copy there, right? But it's just one of those things. I don't know. It always kind of reminded me of just family and kind of that love and comfort you feel as a child at Christmas time, and kind of that being together and getting that from this video game, right? I think kind of always brings me back there, whether it's the amazing soundtrack, all the bumping tunes you get to listen to, or just even like the little stingers kind of in between levels and kind of like the beats and the change. I often find myself listening to the soundtrack right on Spotify. I throw this on if I'm just kind of cruising, need something to like read to, hang out to. This is a great one to go with, as well as I've in the past just thrown this game on and I'll like play on my phone and just sit in a level and just listen to music. Just bop my head, not doing anything, just chilling on a Friday night, listen to cool awesome soundtracks from this game. So part of the reason I was like, if we're doing a Christmas game, this is one of those games I remember kind of getting as a Christmas gift. The next game we're talking about, like Donkey Kong Country 3 and Pokemon Yellow, weirdly enough, has that distinction of like gift from a grandparent that I'm like, well, I can never throw away my copy from Pokemon Yellow because my grandma gave that to me.
Oh, of course. Or I always end up holding games whenever somebody buys for me, even if it's like, I don't play this often, but definitely not going to get rid of it. But, you know, when people make you an offer, sometimes you're just like, let's do this out of spur of the moment. This game, I just remembered like the soundtrack was so epic. It was one of those things where we just always like, I just like think of these levels and I hear the sounds, and even like the water rushing against the docks or whatever. It's just like the background was perfect. The background music was great. The opening music was great. It's like it was all like. Then as soon as like the stinger at the end of like every time you beat the level, like you do you want to beat it as Dixie? Like you make that last minute, like I'm gonna switch real quick, just let Dixie play the guitar, as opposed to Diddy Kong with his boombox or whatever. I just remember doing like stuff like that where like we just had such love for this game that it was every level seemed so memorable, and every like boss was so fascinating, and all the secret passages were just like ingrained in your brain. Where you're like, okay, as soon as I start gangplank galling or what the heck it's called, they just hold right, and then you fall over. Like maybe it's lockjaw something or whatever. But Mick, if you ever could find I think it's Donkey Kong Country Rescue on Crocodile Island.
Okay.
Because it looks like it's got Diddy and Dixie right at the front with a little blue chomper, and Donkey Kong's in the back getting pushed away by thing. Selling for $190 on Amazon right now.
What?
Yeah. So.
Oh, yeah, look at that. Rescue. That's probably the one we had. $150 on eBay. Huh. Yeah. Cool.
Apparently it's a good read. Apparently it's not too bad.
Oh, cool. Awesome. Yeah, it helps you beat the game. No problem. So, Donkey Kong Country 2, the story. So, sometime after DKC 1, Donkey Kong is relaxing on the beach until he's ambushed by Kremlings. He gets kidnapped and brought to Captain K. Rool, King K. Rool's moniker in this game, who demands that the banana horde, he unsuccessfully tried to steal in the previous game for the ransom for the Kongs. Instead of complying, Diddy Kong and his girlfriend Dixie resolve to go to the Kremlin's home island, Croc Island, to rescue Donkey Kong. Level 1 sees us in Gangplank Galleon. So we fight across a ship deck, a ship mast, a ship deck, a ship hold, a ship mast before fighting a crow in the crow's nest. Yeah, cool. So then I have my favorite level, my worst favorite level. Let's do something. Let's talk about that first area in general. Gangplank Galleon.
Yeah. Well, memorable in my mind.
Sure.
Even the soundtrack. Everyone's kind of sounds very funky. There's not a level in this first section that is bad in my opinion.
Yeah.
Like Pirate Panic. Is that not like the perfect kind of starting game? You get introduced to like some of the buddies.
Sure.
I think it's the Rhino in the first one.
Well, and it plays up the theme too, right? Thematically, the Kremlings from the first game were, I guess they are pirates, right? If they're coming in, they're stealing hordes, and they're on ships, and they have boats. Cool, awesome, great aesthetic. They had a pirate ship, right? So why not just lean into the aesthetic? And they kind of help dress everything up, kind of give everyone a little bit more personality. We see guys in little masks. Guys wear pirate pants, have little like peg legs. I think just kind of adds to the environment, a little bit more fun, and great way of introducing kind of all the different levels. We're out of caves. We're no longer doing caves. We're doing parts of ships, right? We're doing underwater sections in ships. I guess you go other areas at this one, right? But it just kind of, I don't know, adds a little bit more color and brevity to the world, as well as, I mean, those songs, you play this at any point, they get stuck in your head again and again and again, just like some of the tunes from World 2, Crocodile Cauldron. So we fight across some lava crocodiles, a mine, a ship, hold some lava balloons, another mine before fighting a sword.
Yeah. And I mean, the balloon ride one, that was hard. That was really hard for me as a kid.
We got stuck there forever. Like that was definitely the hold up. You know, you kind of almost got done the second level, and some of the timing, some of the little the puzzle, the active time puzzles of trying to get that balloon across, not going into the lava, but you have to go low enough to not hit this. It's well done. No, it's a good challenge for sure, and it's very rewarding to get past that level.
Definitely, and I think that and another good level was like the lava lagoon with the seals who blow and make the water swimmable.
Yeah.
I still just I see that picture of that darn seal, and I can just hear the sound effect of him surfing and then clapping his things.
Sure.
I was like, man, this just little details.
I did not see the water get red in that level when I played it this time.
Yeah.
That's how fast, I flew through this level as fast as you can imagine, so.
Yeah, well, you don't, and they give you a decent amount of time because they expect that you're going to get lost or whatever, but if you know where you're going, you can just cruise.
Oh, so. Very little challenge. I think it gets harder when it's reintroduced later, but this is obviously just kind of like that first time through. And then obviously Cannon's claim. So you're kind of like a mine. The music in this level, banger, absolutely one of my favorite video game soundtracks of all time. Oh, it's great. From there, though, we go to World 2, which is Creme Quay, which is a marsh. Quay. I think that's, we travel through a haunted swamp, a dark ship hold, a swamp, ship deck, ship mess, some brambles before fighting Crudell in Cordell's Contest.
Oh, and we hear the best song in the entire soundtrack. The Sticky
Oh, you like the
Brush
Bramble
Symphony.
one?
Yeah, that one's my favorite.
Yeah,
it's a good one.
that is very popular, and I've heard that one before. So I was like, yeah, okay, that's fair. Yeah, this was again one of the levels where you just kind of chip away. Dixie's spin definitely helps you get through a lot of the platforming in this area, and that's not the craziest.
Invincibility frames, kind of a lifesaver sometimes, where you can, like, if you have both Kongs, you can just take the hit and just be like, okay, I'm gonna run and jump as far as I like get to where I need to go. Skip this one like kind of crappy area. It's like, this game has been like perfected.
Well, I found playing this game too, they are quite generous with like the Donkey Kong barrels, right? Like your buddy system, so you can kind of play even with just like the fast rewinds, and you can play through a hit and get through a good chunk of the level before you get hit again, right? Without kind of save scumming too much. And usually they're generally fair. If it's a tough challenge and like you hit a couple Bs, move forward a couple screens because there's a chance there's a barrel right there, right? Usually they kind of fill you up after one of those tough challenges. They're like, this will get most people, right? So I think the game is challenging, but definitely fair. From there, though, we go to level 4, Crazy Kremland. So we have to fight through a hive, roller coaster, some brambles, race some guy on a roller coaster, a swamp before another hive before fighting King Zing and King Zing Sting.
Yes. The jumping around in a beehive was like very cool because like the walls are sticky, so you can kind of climb. You can climb up them, which is like we're monkeys. Why are we not climbing these things?
Oh, I see. Yeah, well, it's sticky.
Yeah. No, but it's like, why don't we incorporate this into other parts of the game? Well, we kind of did with like the climbing of the ropes and everything, but I was like, we could easily just we could climb up trees, guys. Maybe we do later on.
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted by something. Yeah, good point. This area, I don't know, it's just kind of fun. I don't love the beehive level. I just really wanted to get to the roller coaster, the carnival. Even though I hated, some people say like, oh, the mine carts are way too tough in the first game. They're fun in this one. You get chased. At some point, we get chased by a ghost in the next area. Yep. You have to chase some little guys. Just, I don't know. Seems like fun. Seems like a fun place you kind of want to be.
There's even a little race where you're like, are trying to go as fast as you can.
To get past the 10 guys to the end of the level. It's okay if you don't get them all, but that's how you get like the DK collectible.
Yeah, and it's funny. So if you actually hold back right at the beginning, you'll actually go and hit a quick boost.
Oh, interesting.
I've never noticed that, but I was watching the Let's Play and I was like, wait, you just hold back? Huh.
Interesting.
There's a little boost back there. Like, would have never guessed. But.
Cool. From there, though, we go to level 5. We go to Gloomy Gulch. We travel through a forest, race a ghost on a roller coaster, a forest, a hive, hang out with some spiders in a forest before fighting a creepy crow on a ship mast.
Yeah, and this is one of my favorite bosses. Like, so they reused this boss, but it's a ghost, and it's kind of like it's almost like you're fighting the ghost of the guy in the first level. It's like,
yeah, sure.
I love this idea where it's like there's clearly ghosts. So let's explore that idea. Like maybe a boss comes back and they actually have ghostly powers.
Yeah,
pretty
that's
cool.
Fair. This area, what's one that steps like the forest with the wind, right? I always thought that was kind of a cool mechanic. I do like the Squitter, right? He's a spider. He's got kind of cool shoes on, some cool Jordans. You can make little platforms. He's got some great areas in this part, and just kind of getting to play around with him and kind of do some of the platformings and do some of the challenges. It's good times.
Yeah, definitely another strong level.
Awesome. So from there, if you're doing my strategy, be done right now because next level is level 6, K Rool's Keep. Guys, you gotta beat it. It's Donkey Kong Country 2. It's so good. So in the last main area of the game, you travel through an ice level, a windy mine. Oh, the one that goes up. Avoid being crushed in a castle, some more ice, travel along some chains, and use our animal friends to avoid some toxic stuff before we get to the stronghold and rescue Donkey Kong until... Oh, there's one more part after this. So the Flying K-Rock. We'll just get through the whole thing. Now we go to an airship, and we have to chase Captain to the final showdown. Before we have to do a race with an evil bird and fight King K. Rool.
Yeah. I'm actually looking at this thing, and it says right now there's a Lost Worlds after this, and I was like...
Yeah. So that big
yeah.
club guy, you can go in at the beginning, right? You have to collect so many of the bonus coins, and you can pay 15, and he transports you to different lost levels, which are like this game's kind of end level. It's the toughest areas. I don't know if it does anything else.
No, I think it just I think you're right. There's just a jungle, an ice, a jungle, a lava level, and then like there's a multiple one with animal antics apparently.
Yeah, that's like the toughest level of the game apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, I definitely skipped this stuff. But now that I see the actual like picture, I was like, I feel like I've definitely seen this. So somebody was going for all the coins at one point.
Well, as a kid, right? Because like you got to the first guy, and he's like, "I need 15 coins," and you'd get 15 coins. And you're like, "I have to go back," because like, what's he hiding? And it's just like a super hard level, and you're like, "Man, I'm glad I grinded all those coins. Sick." With this one, there is that one point where we chase an evil bird. If you just get hurt or take a hit and then fly past him, you despawn the race, and then you don't have to race him.
Yeah, there's a couple goofy things. There's also like a couple, I think it's in the Japanese game where like a lot of speedrunners use it, where like you can take double hits and then you like, it looks almost like the character's model's still glitched out, and then you'll like throw something and will like, it just assumes that there's a barrel there and just shoots you to the end of the level. It's like, what a random hodgepodge. But it's, I love when watching some speedrunners are like, wow, you guys really just break the crap out of these games. Like, there's so many glitches that I never came across once, because these games feel like almost perfect and glitchless, but there's clearly glitches. So.
Oh yeah, and you can definitely like cheese things. That's fun. And that ends Donkey Kong Country 2. You battle K. Rool, you save Donkey Kong, you get an airship. Ooh baby, good times. From there though, that takes us to Donkey Kong Country 3. Dixie's Double Trouble was released by Rare. Sold 4.24 million copies. It seems like every kid had this game at one point. It was released November 18th, 1996. Has this game as well as, well, I think it's the shortest one, 4.5 hours. I think there was 5 and then 5.5, so it's actually getting a little bit shorter, which seems odd because there's more to do.
Yeah, and there's even an overworld to kind of explore.
Yeah. Okay, cool. So we've done this one more recently, so I do have the things. It's on the Nintendo Online. Yeah, cool. Good stuff. Development details for this fun game. So development began shortly after the release of Donkey Kong Country 2. Rare's founder, Tim Stampler, retook the role as the game director. Donkey Kong Country 3 was released. Well, we know that. It was made available. Oh, we know that. It suggested that this game, the sales of this game was hurt since the N64 was released in September of 1996. A port of this game was released in the Game Boy Advance in November 2005. The game includes a Christmas theme for the bonus levels. By entering Mary on the file select screen, the stars and bananas will be changed to bells and presents, and the background music will be changed to Christmas music. Is this real?
That sounds fun.
I might go back and redo that. Cool.
But that might be the Game Boy Advance port, not the actual game.
Damn.
Yeah, because I know and I think there's like a Game Boy Color version for Donkey Kong Country 1 and 2.
Okay.
Yeah, which is like, that'd be interesting to play at one point, see the differences, but maybe we'll do that for the next rerun.
Yeah. Oh, we're going to play this again. Awesome. Great. That's sick. So first memories of this game. So that was the fast development details. You guys didn't even notice it was so fast. We got this game for Christmas in 1996. A year before we would get our N64. Okay. Yeah, I guess that makes sense. 97, 98, 99. Yeah, okay. That probably makes a bit more sense. We played the heck out of this game. I once completed it as a kid several times since I've grown up. I recall enjoying the experience with this game in the past and look forward to getting to play it today. Oh, this might have been the Xmas where we did like a family trip to the Fairmont Hot Springs. So we also got Spawn and SWAT Cats from a Kmart. Neat.
Ooh. You know, that was a decent Christmas.
Yep. That was
much
good.
As Spawn was frustrating, I still like that game.
Oh, and again, just kind of to reiterate that point of that kind of that shared Christmas experience, family experience I kind of have in my life. I hold this game in that high regard, right? Came in a time where that was special, and traveling around with my PlayStation or my Super Nintendo and all my cords and my Spawn and my SWAT Cats and Donkey Kong so I could play with everybody. It seemed like tons of friends I knew had this game. We kind of all beat it together in big groups, and you go to different people's houses, and you're like, oh, I can beat this stage. It was very communal, and just kind of always has that kind of that special place in my heart for those reasons, right? So again, why am I doing this kind of for a Christmas timey show, end of year? Reminds me of Christmas.
Yeah, well, and it's like there's something about that, like replaying a game that you got for Christmas around Christmas, just brings back the good memories from your childhood. So it's a fun experience. I always remember liking this game fondly because it was super cool that you could have this overworld and you could upgrade all your stuff. And I was always trying to like, where's all the hidden stuff? Because every so for sure somebody would know that, oh no, you need to get this thing, and then you unlock, and then you fly over to like keep holding up, and then you'll fly past this thing, and then you can actually like get to a secret area. It's like there's all these kind of like cool like nuggets that I felt were all in every overworld and in every like main world. Like there's something to kind of like focus on, and it kept it fresh, and it kept it one of those things where like even with all our friends, because we're all playing through at different points, we'd all like, everybody was kind of an expert at different areas or different parts, or had like everybody had something that they could share when we were passing around the controller back in the day. So it was very cool.
Awesome. Sweet. From there, though, we get into the story. So shortly after the events of Donkey Kong Country 2, Donkey Kong and Diddy suddenly disappear in the northern hemisphere. Dixie Kong sets off to find the pair and is joined by her cousin, Kiddy Kong, and aided by Funky Kong's vehicles to traverse the land. So the level notes here. Haven't played this game in a while or in the past. Check it out. Page, pictures. It's an amazing resource. MarioWiki.com/Donkey Kong, Donkey_Kong_Country_3 page. Oh, cool. Sick. Level 1, like Orangutanga. And I don't have anything other than that. So it's kind of like a camp level. You're around a camp. There's lots of boardwalks. Some barns you're in. Oh, baby.
Yeah. And I think it's interesting. I for an opening level, I think first boss is Belch. The guy you gotta jump on the bugs and throw it into a barrel, and then he burps.
Yeah.
Sends himself backwards. Man, it's cool. Like, I mean, it's a good little opening spot. I'm trying to remember the first couple levels. Oh yeah, this is where you start like on the boardwalk. It's almost like
yeah.
And then there's like a mill. Then there's back to it's called still a mill, like, so Lakeside Limbo, Doorstop Dash, Titled Troubles, Skid a Row, Murky Mill, and Belch's Barn. So,
yeah.
Lots of kind of cool things. And I think we've been kind of forgot to mention as we were going that as you're exploring the overworld, there's always going to be like the other Kongs. So you like your Funkies, your Candies, your grandmas, and the grandpas to save the game, and then there's Swanky who does the bonus games in this game. So lots of kind of things to do and explore. I really like these games because it felt like there's always something to kind of work towards. Like sometimes I would just go into the same level and grind out a bunch of coins so I could go back and play the mini games some more or whatever. It's like, yeah, there was like,
and a lost element on a quick replay is you're not doing those things, right? Like all my coins I collect, I'm not going to go play the trivia game to try and score extra lives, right? Because it's fun. It's fun to kind of get those trivia. Or in this game, like the ball toss game, right? We were playing against Cranky Kong. That's kind of a fun thing. I never did it. I never once played any of the ball toss games because I was like, I don't need extra lives. That's definitely not a thing that I require. So
yeah, and you don't need to, but it's fun to do when you're a kid.
It's definitely, absolutely. If you have more time and like taking that time to play those things, it definitely is added to the experience. I'm just like, I'm trying to play this game as quickly as possible. Like when I get to World 2, Crabwood Forest. Now we're in a forest. We see, oh boy, we're on trees. There's buzzsaws. We have to race against kind of a riverside. And the boss here is a giant spider.
Yep. And I think this is one of the levels where you have to play as the elephant, and it's scared of the mice, which was like a fun little mechanic. And I really like that they're trying to keep it fresh and different. And there's all these like little guys, the K. Rool coin guys who hold the coin as a shield, and you have to like launch it over them or trick them in a way so it will knock them from behind. That's how you get a bunch of the 1-ups or the
DK
unlockables
coins.
and DK coins and stuff. Yeah, so I think it's fun. There's apparently lots of different cheat ways to get around it, where like people can play this whole game and skip the Ellie sections.
Oh yeah.
So you just don't have to play as an elephant if you don't want to, which I never knew as a kid. I'm sure we'd all probably spend our time trying to fiddle with that, but it's fun. I think it's worth actually enjoying and just exploring. Like each of these like levels are kind of fun and have different themes, and kind of like each has its own like little mechanic. And I think it's pretty well thought out. I really enjoy this game. So
Nice. Solid. Yeah, I agree. It's a good intro level. It's kind of fun that they do make you go back, read. There's some bears you have to interact with that give you different items, especially if you want to do all the unlockables. There's tons of unlockables in this game, special areas, and some secrets to kind of uncover, right? You can do it all organically in the game, and sometimes you have to read and be able to go back and obviously do a race in a certain amount of time to unlock kind of the next area. From there, though, we get to go from World 3. I think we actually upgrade our little crappy fishing boat to like a little hovercraft, which gets us over some rocks, so we can go and explore the world. There's some banana birds. I only got one banana bird on this one. I just kind of kept skipping them. And we get to go to world... Well, technically we get to go... Wait. Cotton Top Cove.
yeah, you can go to the cove, or you can go to the steam... there's like a little factory level looking thing. You can go to the factory area.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Cotton Top Cove is the water level. So, or you can go to Mechanos, which is kind of an area. So, water level, there's going to be waterfalls you have to jump up, some swimming. Mechanos, there's just kind of more industrial areas. There's a couple pipes. There's some like barrel rides or something like that you have to do. And it's kind of a dealer's choice, right? So, you can go either way. One gets you a ski, which kind of unlocks World 5. So, but kind of a fun mechanic, kind of helps break it up, and it's an open world game. You should be able to have freedom of choice and do anything in either order. Does it hurt the game? Does it add anything to it?
No, but I think if you're struggling as a kid, it gives you the option to like, once you get to here, you let's say you're trying to work your way through Mechanos, and you kept getting stuck, you could move to Cotton Top because it's probably going to be a little bit easier or whatever.
Yeah.
So.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know.
One fun thing is the boss in Cotton Top looks like Jar Jar Binks.
He does. Yeah, he's kind of like a weird snail guy. And like kind of has a little mouth. There's some art somewhere, and he's like this horrible, horrible snail hiding behind it. And I'm like, ugh, I hate it.
Yeah. I just imagine him as a Jar Jar Binks, and it makes my brain hurt less.
Yeah, that's fair. Cool. And then you have to fight R2-D2 in the other one. So Star Wars all over the place. And then in World 5, we go to Hoth, or it's called K3 in this level. So it is a... You like ice levels? Do you like being on toboggans and going over little cabins? And barrel drop bounce. These waterfall levels aren't the best. This probably was the worst one. Timed waterfall barrel jumping isn't great. Okay.
Oh, yeah, definitely the one where you have to use the barrels to jump up, or to like vertically climb up the stage. Not my favorites. But definitely better than the auto scrollers in this game.
I do enjoy, like, we're kind of like, oh, we'll kind of talk about the levels quick, and then we'll focus on the bosses, and we're like, oh, the barrel guy, he belches. If he are quick, he can do it like 2 belches, he jumps across, it's kind of fun. Spider guy, he's kind of lame. And then you're like, Jar Jar Binks, and we're like, Chaos, the main villain in this game. We're not going to, R2-D2.
R2-D2, who apparently you can also glitch out and beat him in one go.
Okay.
By cheesing with Kitty and using like Kitty to throw Dixie up, and then like bouncing off of his head. You can bounce off his head like 4 or 5 times in that first like way, and then you just like could just skip him.
Great.
Which I think is kind of cheating, because that's the best one, the boss in the game. Is who doesn't like fighting R2-D2?
Yeah, you gotta kill R2-D2 once in a while. But yeah, some not terrible levels. I don't know. I didn't hate the snow kind of themed levels. I like that each level or each world, too, as you kind of explore this world, is tied together. In the first Donkey Kong Country game, it just seemed like it was kind of the same experience. It was, here's a cave, here's a temple, but it didn't add anything. Here's a tree house, and I'm like, why is this in this? Why am I in a creme crock factory and I'm in a tree house, right? Like, it just doesn't make sense. This game, it kind of tries to be a little bit more cohesive, makes the world map kind of, oh, we're in a big tree, and it's mechanical. That's where the ripsaw comes. It's like a lumber mill. And it just kind of added a little bit more, right? All the ice levels kind of go together. The difficult waterfalls kind of tie into like the general theme, and it just kind of creates a bit more pleasant experience. Like, I was genuinely excited when I got to K3, and I was like, I like this. I love the snow fight with the snowman at the end, right? Speaking of that mini game earlier from Swanky, where you're kind of tossing balls, you kind of have to practice a skill, so potentially you can take out Bleak. That was really fun, and I don't know, I thought it was kind of nice and clean.
Yeah, and I like that there's enough variety where it's not, this really game does not feel repetitive, even though you're kind of doing the same thing the whole time. You know, even after playing Donkey Kong 1, 2, and now we're on to 3, it's like, it's still fun. It's still a fun game. Like, if, in fact, it's like, I enjoy my time in this, like, soundtrack, not as memorable, but has some decent songs in there. So
sure. Awesome. Cool. With that, we're on to level 6, Razor Ridge. So speaking of, I kind of don't like all the levels are the same, because you're like, oh man, water. Like water, all the water levels. Ugh, this one is like, do you like cliffs and climbing and ropes? That's what they are. Razor Ridge. And water at the end. Great. Do you love mountains and swimming? Nope, this is my least favorite area. I'm like, ugh, such a pain. Luckily, it's only like 5 areas if you just kind of fly through it and don't worry about trying to get to the other banana mine and find the gears. Just carry on. It's not the end of the world, but I don't know, Razor Ridge, meh.
Yeah, 2 rope levels, 2 click cave levels, and a underwater level that with lighting issues. It's like,
and then an underwater boss. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Who's kind of a pain to deal with. Definitely my least favorite part in this game, where you're like, maybe you should have reworked this a little bit or thrown some variety into it. But
it's very similar to like, like the first game, kind of that Creme Croc Industries. I'm like, I think I'm done with this game. This is where I'd be like, I think I'm done with this game. Right? Do persevere. That one you get stuck with the monkey mines or monkey caves, which sucks. Chaos Core, at least the final area, it's kind of fun. There's like an evil medieval kind of castle. There's like variety in all the levels, right? There's poisonous pipes. There's like the coin dozers. So Tyson mentioned the little guys that have the DK coins. There's these little guys that have helmets and a shield, and you can't hit them unless you throw a barrel behind them. Well, now they like chase after you and like knock you off the ledge. Oh, it's fun. It's cool, right? But yeah, just kind of a little different, and it's better than the mines. But I don't know if I like it as better as like the last area in Donkey Kong Country 2.
No, I guess it also kind of suffers in my mind because they're like, hey, here's another rope level and another cave level. And it's like, just starting to feel like a little bit repetitive. There's the poisonous pipe where I think controls are flipped, left and right's flipped. And then, this is also has the lightning lookout with the lightning bolts, which is like a really neat mechanic that probably they could have used again and again, but they just didn't for whatever reason. So.
Well, it's iconic enough. You're like, is it in every game? It's kind of cool, right? Yeah. So that stands up. So no, definitely cool. I do have the level 8, the special world kind of highlighted as well. I don't know if I played through them. I must have watched like a Let's Play or something, or some type of retrospective the last time we did that. So I don't have a lot of information or anything to add on those last areas, but they exist. And you can, I think, if you do all this and you get all the banana birds, the big banana bird mother shows up, and then we'll chase K. Rool at the end, and that's kind of like the end of the game. Yeah, they're done it. Yeah, I don't care about the collectibles and platformers as much as the game designers at Rare want me to.
No, and Rare is notorious for throwing too many collectibles in games. If we ever do Donkey Kong Country 64 or Donkey Kong 64, we will hear us complain about too many collectibles. Yeah.
Cool. So with that, though, that wraps up our 3 games for this special. We're about an hour of record time, so you had a little bit. Get there. Do we want to go through our current thoughts and just kind of wrap up our thoughts on this kind of review of these games? Maybe quick summary?
Sure. Kind of talk about each one real quick.
Yeah, so Donkey Kong Country 1, first game we kind of talked about. Current thoughts, I found this game very frustrating. Difficult curve is extremely steep. Does my opinion change on that one? It's okay. It definitely is aged. I find the sprites aren't as well refined. The music isn't as fresh. The gameplay, it seems they kind of like they have a couple tricks up their sleeves. They have a couple things that like the getchas, some of the gotchas that the game designers make. And other than that, it is not the best experience ever. It's okay, right? But it's just obviously refined in the next two entries.
Yeah, good starting spot. Definitely like a great starting spot, but definitely just needs more things and different type of bosses, different characters or different like enemies to kind of work with, different animal buddies to work with. Just needs more, and that's what Donkey Kong Country 2 gives us. But a good starting spot. Definitely a little like frustrating, and it has Sonic 1 syndrome, where it's like I feel like key things got introduced in Donkey Kong Country 2, so the gameplay it feels like an older version. Like it feels like a console generation prior than Donkey Kong Country 2.
Then just that 1 year of development time. Sure. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. Donkey Kong Country 2, like we mentioned, I think is an elite platformer. It's got some of the best gameplay. It's got some of the most fun secrets that you can kind of discover. The songs are amazing. Graphics hold up. Everything is fair. It's cheap. It's challenging, but I think my nostalgia kind of looks past that, and I'm like, nah, this game's not that tough. You just got to need to know about this or know that or practice this level enough that you're good at it. I've maybe done that because playing through it, I did not find this one as difficult as kind of things were reporting. I heard that as I was kind of doing research and kind of like watching the videos of other people talking about this game, like, oh, it's so tough. I never felt that, but it might just be, again, I think I've put in the hours to kind of overcome those obstacles and like, oh, I know that this barrel's coming up, better jump here, right? But no, just absolutely perfect, clean, one of my favorite Super Nintendo games, right? One of my favorite platformers of all time. So Donkey Kong Country 2, pleasure to play you again, and I breezed through you. Probably going to listen to the soundtrack after recording this, so.
Yeah, probably one of the best soundtracks ever. Super tight, very fun game. I think it's a little on the harder side, but I almost prefer that because it gives you something to work and something to perfect when you are just playing this game straight up.
Sure.
I think that this game was good enough. It made us still want another, like more. Give us more Donkey Kong Country games. Even all these years, like 30 some years, like almost 30 some years later, it's like I still want more Donkey Kong games because this game is so good. Like, and I know we've had plenty, like the Donkey Kong Country Returns, DK3, like there is their games, but that Donkey Kong Country 2 was so good. I just want more of this. I want another Dixie and Diddy adventure, and I'm just sad I'm never gonna get it.
Yeah, that's fair. Cool, sweet. Donkey Kong Country 3. I kind of like that this trilogy wraps up with kind of the play styles that we were missing, right? So we had three characters. We had a heavy in Donkey Kong. We had kind of the speedster in Diddy, and then we had the floater in Dixie Kong, right? They made Dixie Kong in the third game a little faster, so she has a little bit more kind of Diddy in her. Not as fast, I think, as Donkey Kong Country 2 though, or 1. And then Kitty Kong is just the better Donkey Kong. He has a better throw arc. He's a little bit more versatile, but he is heavy, right? He has the strength, and you can kind of feel that. And it's just nice that they kind of built the dichotomy of all three games. You get the heavy and the speedster, and then the speedster and the floater, and then the floater and the heavy, right? And they kind of leveled that out, and they created these nice challenges over these three games. I'm sure it wasn't how they intended it, but it's kind of beautiful just to see how this trilogy wraps up with that last combination, right? So you kind of can almost pick and choose. Do you prefer the floater and the speedster? Is that why Donkey Kong Country 2 is kind of well regarded, right? Because it is the perfect combo versus the two games that are clunky and have the heavy and the Donkey Kong and the kitties. Just make it a little more difficult, right? But I just kind of appreciate that when you get to the playing through all these games again, you get to this and it is a fresh experience, and it's different because you have different challenges based on these Kongs, right? The levels, they change in the gameplay. And does this game look the best? Yeah, but I don't like the graphics as much as I like the graphics in 2. I think 2 is refined. It's almost perfect, right? The little bitey guys, they're blue. They're blue little reptiles with big heads. They're not pink lizard monsters, right, in this game. So I don't know. I don't love the sprite design in this game as much, and everything seems like, yeah, they took it a step forward, but it's not really a step I like, and it's almost too realistic and less cartoony than kind of that the cuteness that was that nice atmosphere and that honed in design of 2. So 3 is always going to be good. It's there. It's that other combination, and the floaty is pretty good. So maybe does Dixie's float maybe let alone bring this to like the second game? In kind of my mind, if I was to rank them, I'd go 2, 3, 1, probably. But that's kind of my current thoughts on this, and it is fun, and I'd love to be a kid again and be able to go back and like explore this world and spend the time and get to really dive into it, right? Maybe with some like resources like a walkthrough here or there to kind of play it. But that was there. Did I say everything about Donkey Kong Country 3 or nothing?
No, I think you kind of hit the nail on the head. It's like, it's my second favorite. I love it. I love the addition of the overworld and the upgrading your vehicle to keep progressing. It just feels like super fun instead of just like, here, you've opened a new area. It allows you to kind of like go and explore the overworld. Like, that's so much fun. But the in levels just aren't as clean. The bosses aren't as like cool. It feels just a little lacking. Just not as polished, like as you said about Donkey Kong Country 2.
Mm-hmm.
But I have a soft spot for 3. I remember liking it a lot. I really liked Kitty. I was sad when him and Dixie weren't included in Donkey Kong 64. But such is life. I got a bunch of games with some characters I like, and Kitty just handles really tightly in this, and it's actually he has a bit of a bigger hitbox, but you almost kind of like that sometimes. In some of the bonus games, you're trying to collect stars. It's like, give me Kitty, so I have a bigger hitbox.
Yeah.
But he also just like jumps super tight. The throw is almost perfect. It's I really like this game. So
Okay. Yeah, solid. Sweet. So that kind of wraps up those 3 games. So glad that we went back, kind of these games from our childhood that we got for Christmases, potentially in consecutive years that we kind of played the ever-loving heck out of. We had a bunch of friends with them. We kind of grew up with them. And it's fun to go back and kind of explore. And super easy for us because it was a couple hours already at the notes. I just cut and pasted. Whoo, baby. Good stuff. All that leaves us with, though, is a cultural significance. And I didn't really come up with anything. I was like, it's a trilogy of games. I guess just talking about it now, I was like, different play styles and how they intermix, and that's neat. And what other games do this? And is there other examples? That's what I should have done. Instead, I just found, according to GamerRants.com, the top 15 gaming trilogies. So, Dyson, as you look at this list, is there any ones that stand out that you need to discuss? Maybe pick pick like as many as we'd like. But if you're going down and you're like, I don't know anything about that, we don't need to talk about it.
Well, I'll just run through them quick, right? Like
Sure.
Golden Sun, boo, who cares?
Yeah.
Tomb Raider, I think we're playing our way through some, like, we beat the first one, now we're working our way through the other ones. I don't think sure, it's a trilogy. I'm sure if you're a PlayStation fan, this was like a definitive trilogy for you, but I don't really have it. The Witcher, first 2 are kind of unplayable in my opinion. They're really janky, and the combat's super hard and not enjoyable. The Witcher 3 is just amazing. Max Payne, I think I played the first one.
Yeah.
Gave up after that.
Yeah, I don't really know anything about that one. So
yeah, Assassin's Creed, the Enzo trilogy, probably the peak of the Assassin's Creed franchise. Like, if you just beat that, you could probably just step away. I know some people love Black Flag. I kind of can't stand it. The Enzo trilogy, like, this is the best. Like, just play Assassin's Creed 1 and the Enzo trilogy. You have the best Assassin's Creed experience, in my opinion. Dark Souls, I don't really know too much about Dark Souls. I know everybody liked the first one, and the second one wasn't super great, and then the third one was like good. I couldn't tell you. Do you know anything about Dark Souls? Have you spent any time with them?
No, I own one of them. I actually maybe own like 2 of them, but I've never got into it. It could be tough, right? Learn patience, learn patterns. Cool, awesome. Not at this point in my life. Haven't taken the time. Imagine they're probably good.
Yeah.
The reason I'm not saying anything is I don't really know anything. I know I played Golden Sun. I didn't know it was a trilogy. Cool. Tomb Raider, yeah, a little bit of experience. Xenoblade Chronicles, I don't know. I know I played the first couple Assassin's Creed, so if Tyson's saying they're the best, he played them all, I will agree with him on that. Diablo 2 and 3 are pretty good. I don't know about the first one.
Yeah, now there's a 4th one. I mean, I feel like it's a bit pay to win, but whatever. Isn't all Blizzard games now just pay to win? So, then we got the Batman Arkham trilogy. I think you've played these games more than I have, even though I'm the DC fan.
They are absolutely great. The first game I think I might have beat the first two games 100%, right? I went out of my way to find every single secret. I just couldn't get enough of them. They're amazing. Arkham City just kind of is a bigger level, right? You ever wanted to drive the Batmobile around the city, take out criminals? It's fun. It's amazing. It's on the Switch right now. It's on like sale. So if you see that, play them and you're gonna be like, these are great. I love these Batman games, right? Dives into tons of great lore, kind of creates its own little world for them. And yeah, absolutely, these Batman Arkham Asylum City and then Night, beautiful, absolutely just beautiful.
Nope. Next one's BioShock. I mean, I love this franchise.
First game, last game amazing. Second game,
Yeah, the second one's kind of like not. I have a soft spot for it because actually, you got me the second one for Christmas one year.
Oh yeah,
that was my experience with BioShock 2. So I have a soft spot for BioShock 2. I think that has the big sisters in it, and I thought they were really that was some of the funnest boss battles I've ever had were against those big sisters. So
okay, 5 we're up to Mass Effect trilogy. So if you wanted kind of long play storytelling in an immense world, this is the series for you.
Yeah. I beat all these games. I beat all the Mass Effect trilogy. I really loved it. I love some sci-fi. It's cool that the decisions you can make in the first game do have some impacts even on the third one, even though the ending's kind of like red, green, or blue. There's some story beats, and you can lose some characters along the way, and that's the most rewarding parts of Mass Effect, not the ending, is the journey. So I really enjoyed my time with Mass Effect series. If you haven't played it, I do recommend it.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. From there we get to Gears of War. I know nothing.
I beat them, obviously, the Xbox guy. The first one is darn near one of the best Xbox games of all time. 2's okay. I think the co-op's pretty solid. And then 3 is just like starts to kind of run out of steam. Now I think we're up to 5 or 6, and it's like I just don't care anymore. You can only be like chainsaw gun, make it be cool for so long. Yeah, but fun game. I know it's definitely like a little bit more of a gritty game. So the 2000s were all about the grit. So good game.
Nice. Metroid Prime. I played the first one. I haven't played the other ones.
Okay. I played parts of the first one. Maybe a game franchise we look at later. So
I did make a mistake on our last show when I was like, oh, Luigi's Mansion is the first GameCube game. Technically, it was Wind Waker, but we're into that area, so yeah, could we get talked into playing Metroid Prime next year? Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we'll see. We might need it for an Audible. It's one of those games where this is on the get to it eventually.
Add to the dog, and I'm actually just going to make a note, Metroid Prime. But number 2, Tyson, I know it's a series you have a lot of experience with, Halo.
Yes, love this franchise. I mean, I played Halo 1, 2, 3, and I love ODST. 4 was kind of and then Reach, and then 4, and then 5, and then Infinite. It peaked after 3. That was like Xbox Online was everything. The multiplayer in Halo 3 was some of the most memorable nights of my life, just hanging out with my friends playing that game. So I love Halo. And the original trilogy is just like perfect.
Excellent, awesome. And then finally, I've only ever played the first game. I'm still stuck on that beach in like World 3. It's just beautiful, white sand beach, blue sky or blue ocean.
I know exactly what you're talking about. It's a very long level.
And then the first game on this, the best trilogy, is the Grand Theft Auto 3D trilogy. So that'd be Grand Theft Auto 3, Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, and Grand Theft Auto Vice City.
Yeah. I like these games. I know the re-releases were pretty meh, and apparently there was some shady things where Rockstar wasn't actually letting the developer patch the games, so that's cool. Especially they were really buggy and had some issues, and were apparently had patches and fixes were ready, but Rockstar just didn't care. So that was a huge piss off and a disappointment, but that didn't take away from what these games were. Like when Grand Theft Auto 3 launched, that like game changed the landscape of video games. I remember like my favorite one is Vice City. I love the 80s. I love cruising around like the Miami world and getting all like their different cars and everything. Had great soundtracks. And then San Andreas was just like, they even had RPG elements. We get your haircut, you could put on weight, you could gain muscle. The more you sprinted, the further you could sprint. The more you bite, better you bite. Like it was just that natural progression. And I mean, the Grand Theft Auto franchise is one of the biggest franchise, if not like, yeah, I'd say one of the biggest franchises. I'm not gonna say the biggest. So
yeah, and like I was in on Grand Theft Auto pretty early on, so it must have come out close-ish when we got the PS2, right? That was kind of the big series. I spent all the time. I knew all the secrets. I probably got tons of unlockables. I would spend the time doing the jumps and the tricks, and that's where that was my time sink game, right? At that moment in my life, when Vice City came out, I was a little disappointed. Just they'd altered some of the mechanics, and I wasn't the biggest fan, and I completely missed out on San Andreas. For whatever reason, I don't know if it wasn't on my PlayStation 2, or I didn't buy that, or I was like, no, I need the new wrestling game and this hockey game. That's exactly probably what happened. Versus, I did play it later in life, and it does. It adds more environments, and it's just, again, creature comforts. It's those little things you add to kind of like the next game in the series. We don't have to rebuild the engine. We just have to kind of like create a new little world, and we can like make him get fat. Cool, awesome. But yeah, in terms of just games that are fun, and if you could throw someone, a teenager that had some free time, that was somewhat mature to deal with some mature content, they could probably have a lot of fun in this game. Driving around, killing people, it's good times.
Yeah.
But like, is Grand Theft Auto 5 or 6 just better? Probably.
I know everybody was kind of meh on 4, but 4 is fine.
Yeah.
5's obviously solid. And then 6 is literally right around the corner where we're going back to Vice City. So who knows what we're in for? I have a sneaking suspicion it's going to be probably one of the biggest game launches. I might just take a week off when it comes out and just play a bunch of it. So
sick, cool, awesome. Yep. Well, I also hope I can take a week off to play Grand Theft Auto 6. Hurry up, Grand Theft Auto 6! I need a week off. How about that? Yep. That wraps up our kind of pre-Christmas show about Donkey Kong Country 1, 2, and 3. Did we miss anything?
I'm sure we didn't go over all the development details, but we covered these games in their. If you thought we didn't do a good enough job, go back and listen to our full dedicated episodes. I think each of these got like over an hour.
Yeah.
Or at least close to an hour. So go back, listen to it. We really dive through and kind of go through it in a lot more detail. But I think we covered it up. Great trilogy. It's one of the few Super Nintendo trilogies. And it's nice to just go back and revisit and kind of compare and contrast all these. So it's kind of nice that we did it all in one fell swoop.
Yeah, I agree. Awesome. Cool. So with that, that wraps up our show. And we say goodbye. See you guys in 2 weeks. I think we're playing Tomb Raider. So if you're sticking around, we're doing another numbered show to round out the year. And then we're into more numbered shows next year. Oh, baby. Tons of good stuff. But until then, we'll say bye and see everybody in 2 weeks. Bye.
See you.